When we look at artwork and we have the critiques, right? Students have to figure out sometimes what the instructor wants, or the instructor talks about what they think they wanted when they begin to look at the work, and the student feels successful or not based upon that type of critique session. How do we talk about effectiveness or evaluation? Universities are very much now into how do we evaluate if learning is occurring? How do we standardize evaluation? How do we standardize curriculum? How do we know students are learning as we shift to a new paradigm? If it's student-centered and knowledge is shifting and fluid, how do we know what they're learning and how they're learning? So we need to develop new concepts of evaluation based upon a philosophy of education and a purpose of education and definitions of knowing. So all those things have to come together as we shift paradigms. So we move from, in this case, a computer lab or individualized instruction to mobile technology, which begins to talk about communities of learning, people collaborating together, etc. But it all goes back to design. How is the learning environment designed? You could have all the nice, nifty technologies at hand, but still teach in the same way. You could take your courses and put them on the web, but nothing's really different. It's just a different way of delivering them. How do you rethink what it means to teach? Which then redefines what it means to learn. And how will art education and art in education change because of what we're now able to do? If we were to knock down and destroy all the schools, all the art academies, everything, and rebuild from nothing, would we build them the way they are now? I don't mean physically, but philosophically, the ideas of learning and teaching, our expectations of students, and of ourselves as teachers. How would we reconstruct a school if we started from base zero? Okay, I want to introduce you to any comments or questions on that?
Well, I have many questions because, well, we are talking about from a computer-based learning to a mobile technology-based learning. iPad, previously the PC, the normal base of computer, and then you are talking about iPad. But it still is screen-based. It's mobile, okay, but this is screen-based. I'm wondering, how can we get rid of the screen and talk about the University of the Streets that Ryaska talked previously in the morning? How can we really embed, not to design, you talked about designing environments. I'm talking about don't even having to design any environment. It's just turning the real life into a big university, into a big library, into a big book, like in the medieval concept of the book, privileged to codex, privileged to the because you talk about the end of the book, the paper book. The paper book is one model of book in a long history of what is systems of registering knowledge. So how can you get rid of the screen? The screen is going to be one more step in this long history of different support devices to register our knowledge, to share it or whatever. That implies different modes of sharing, understanding, learning, all this, okay? This is my question.
Okay, good questions. But very briefly, is the idea of the curriculum of the streets, you said? Yeah, on the streets. That could be seen or understood as another learning environment. How you go about designing that learning environment. How is that environment designed by the people in it? Okay?